In this episode, you'll be hearing the second part of my lovely conversation all about manifesting love with Christina Abood from Becoming the One podcast. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Katie, and after many years as a struggling single mum, I transformed into a highly successful manifester with multiple businesses, better relationships, financial abundance, and way more peace, joy, and happiness in my life. Each week, I share the real secrets around how to manifest successfully, as well as the amazing and sometimes crazy lessons I've learned along the way, so that you can apply it all to your own manifesting, transforming your life from the inside out. This is That Manifesting Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. I am here with Katie. Katie, say hi.
Hello. So good. We had to do it twice.
Yes, this is our part 2 of our collab episode. And if you don't know me, I am Christina Abood. I'm a licensed therapist and dating and relationship coach. And Katie is a manifesting mentor. She is amazing. She's here talking with me all about manifesting love, which was our part 1. And now we're going to talk all about mistakes that people are making in manifesting love and in dating. And I know Katie's really excited to jump into what she thinks the biggest mistake is. So I'm going to let her jump in.
Yes. So here's the interesting thing. I get to work with lots of lovely souls on manifesting, and it could be that they're manifesting love, or it could be that they're manifesting money or a new house, anything at all. The biggest blocker to their success is expectation. It's the number one blocker to anything that they want to manifest. And those expectations can come in a range of different ways. You can have expectations on the way that something comes to you. And this is particularly prevalent in love. So quite often I might speak to somebody who specifically wants to manifest an ex back. And they will say, that is the person, that is the one. I'm not going to be happy unless it's with them. And that expectation is setting them up for failure when it comes to manifesting, because if you try to dictate how something comes to you, you're delaying its progress. Because when it comes to manifesting exes back, first of all, you can't manifest a specific person. It just is bad juju. You can't do that. You can't take away somebody's free will. So you have to get that out of your head. But secondly, focusing on a specific person is not trying to manifest the right thing. What you want to be doing is focusing on the feelings that you want to feel. If I could guarantee somebody that they would wake up every morning and they would feel loved and they would feel honored and they would feel that sense of loyalty from another person, and it would be the greatest love of their entire life, does it matter who it's with? And that is the question that people should be thinking about. Quite often they're chasing an ex or somebody else because they're trying to feel something that's not there in themselves. But when you start to focus on the feelings that you want to have, then you open it up to a number of people that could come into your life. And the same is true with manifesting other things. People want to manifest more money and they say, I want to win the lottery. And that's the only way they want this money to come. Well, what about if you started a business and that business was an amazing success and it brought you the same amount of money? Would that not be good enough? That expectation of how something comes to you through manifestation is really what's going against you. And there's another expectation of the time limit. And this is going to be something that is key in manifesting love. People set these boundaries and they say, if I haven't met someone by this time next year, then it's never going to happen. And that expectation, again, is setting you up for failure, because all you're doing is you're telling the universe, okay, it's not going to happen because I've said if it hasn't happened by this time next year, it's not going to happen. So having those time limits is having that expectation of a time limit is working against you. So that's the biggest thing that people need to get their heads around, is drop the expectations. Drop the expectation of who you want to meet. Drop the expectation of how you're going to meet them. Drop the expectation of where it is going to be, how long it's going to take, and just focus on the feelings. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant.
No, I was literally, I'm about to say, I love how passionate you are about this, because I totally agree. This is the biggest mistake I think that people make in general when it comes to anything, but specifically when we're talking about love and relationships, it really is. Expectation is setting you up to be disappointed. And I want to talk too, because I think a lot of people get confused around expectation and standards.
Yes.
And to me, expectation is like expecting things to go in the way that you want, like almost like a control aspect to something, like it has to be this certain way. Whereas standards are more like, here are the things that I am setting the bar for. Like, I am not going to allow someone to treat me, poorly. Like, I want to be treated in this way. Right. And those things more align with your values versus expectation is more like, I just want to control this thing and I want it in this way.
Absolutely. When you focus on expectations instead of standards, you're just setting yourself up to fail, because you're focusing again on the wrong thing, because your expectation could be, I want this person to be in a relationship with me. And so what you've done is you've let all your standards go, because that person may not meet those standards. They might do, but they might not. And so you're completely right. You can have your standards without the expectations of who's going to deliver those standards. Because if you've got a right set of standards, a world as big as ours, there could be 1 million people that could fulfill those standards. When you focus on that one and only person, you're limiting and you're just letting your standards go.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think when we're talking about like manifesting an ex or anything like that, it can be done. You can manifest them, but it's not going to be in the way that you want. And here's why. Because like you just said, like your standards are there and they align with your values. Like there's tons of people who can meet them. But the one thing that person, specifically when we're talking about exes or even like a random person, like a very specific human being you're trying to get, is that your standard should also include that they choose you.
Yes.
And so when you are over here trying to manifest somebody who you probably broke up for a reason and they are not choosing you, then that doesn't really align with hopefully your standards of somebody who chooses you and wants you and values you. And if it's meant to be, you don't need to focus on that specific person. You just need to focus on the manifesting part, which would go back to part 1 of this collab and listen to it. Just focus on that. And if it's meant to be, that person would come.
Yes, absolutely. If they are the person, they will come back.
Right.
But also it's like, how would you feel if an ex that you didn't want to be with was doing this to you, trying to manifest you back? This is where the ego comes in, because it's about what I want. I want that person, therefore they should want me. Therefore, I'm going to try and manifest them back. And that's always my question back to people. How would you feel if your ex from 7th grade was trying to manifest you back right now and you didn't want them? How does that feel? Try that on for size. And it kind of stops people a bit in their tracks, because they then realize that it's an ego-driven action a lot of the time.
Yeah, it definitely is. And again, like it might happen. Maybe you fall in love with your 7th grade boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Like that can definitely happen. But if you focus on this specific person, you might manifest them, but it's not going to be in the way that you really want it to be. And I know that because I've worked with clients who've shared that with me, where they've actually manifested their ex back multiple times and it never works. And it always ends the same way. And that's not, because it doesn't work, because what happens is you might manifest it, but the universe knows that that's not really for you. And so it's going to keep dropping like bombs about like why it's not going to work. And at first it might be a pebble, but then it's going to be a boulder to be like, this is not it. You got to stop chasing something that isn't aligned for you.
Yeah. And it's also when you manifest, if you manifest repetitive behaviors with people, so you're manifesting an ex that treats you a certain way, say for example cheating, you manifest an ex back who cheated on you, they come back, they cheat on you again, you manifest them back and they cheat on you again. Actually, you're not manifesting that person because they have free will. You're manifesting more of the fears you have. So your fear is that somebody will cheat on you again. That is what you're sending out to manifest. Therefore, the universe will send you the person that will cheat on you, that is aligned and thinks, I want to cheat. They accept cheating. I will go back to them. You're not manifesting that person back into your life. You're manifesting a set of behaviors. And that is something to be mindful of. So when you think, pat on the back for me, I manifested my ex back, you haven't. You've manifested a set of behaviors, whether that's good or bad. They could be an amazing person and you're ready for them at this time of your life. But they could also be a not nice person.
Yes. Yes. That's so true. And again, you're just manifesting the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
And this translates even into relationships that you're already in. When you have an expectation about a person, it can eat at you. Like, depending on what the expectation is around, it can create a lot of resentment. It can eat at you. You start to want this person to change. And that's not what love is. Love is accepting someone exactly where they are, no matter where they are at. And you having to be okay with that, as long as it's within your standards and it's healthy and all of that. But if someone's going through something, or you don't like something that someone's doing, I would say, think about, are you just holding this maybe even unsaid expectation towards them and expecting them to do things when maybe they might not be capable of even doing that right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely right. And you're so right. The real feeling of love comes from no expectation apart from the ones you put on yourself.
Yes.
How am I going to show up in this relationship? How am I going to show up with this person? And when you can accept somebody for the way that they are, and if they genuinely make your heart sing and they make you feel joyful and they make you feel happy, does it matter that they don't make the bed in the morning? Does it matter that they don't do the dishes every single time? When it comes to it, it's all about the feelings. Drop the expectations, go into it with feeling, and think about the feelings that you want to have, because that other stuff just doesn't matter. Nobody's perfect. No one is walking into any relationship perfect, but you have to hold true to your standards and manifest from a position of power, not from a position of fear and weakness.
Yes. Nobody's writing on their, when we're going through the clarity part of what we want, no one's like, I want someone that does the dishes every night. Like, you don't write that down,
Yeah.
That's something that you then place on this person that they're going to do. And it's fine. Like, if you have agreed upon thing, and obviously dishes need to be done, that's fine. But when you are in a place of frustration and holding the expectation is going to lead to frustration. That's why we get upset about it. Rather than it's like, let's just revisit this conversation, and you can show up more in a space of love and grace towards this person, and you can actually come to a solution, or, a compromise, or, figure out what you can do just from a better space.
Yeah. Because the thing is, though, it's never about the dishes.
Right.
It's about, I don't feel respected, or I don't feel like you hear me, or I don't feel like we're in equal balance with each other. And that's the key, is when you're manifesting something, those are the things that you should be focusing on. Like we were saying, what do you want to feel? You want to feel respected. It's not about somebody doing the dishes. It's not about somebody making the bed in the morning. It's about somebody showing up for you. But also, like you quite rightly said, it's about you showing up for somebody else. What do you bring to the party? If you're expecting this, what are you giving in return?
Yes. I'm like speechless. That's exactly what it is. Yes. How are you showing up to the party? I love that. Absolutely love that. That is how it is. And having the expectation, especially, I want to go back to something you kind of mentioned at the beginning of the conversation around like the expectation of even how you would meet somebody. I think that's a huge one. Like, it's going to be probably online, right? That's how a lot of people meet now. And holding that, like, this is how I'm going to meet somebody, and then never doing anything else outside of just meeting people in that way. And that's fine. Like, you can do that. It's just that you're closing it off a little bit. And if you open up that space, then you have more opportunities for that person to come to you even faster.
Absolutely. And there's the expectation that people have of, I've done it myself. I've made the mistake myself, where you set up a date with somebody and then something happens and you think, oh, they're not going to be right for me. I don't think I should go on this date anymore. And that is totally the wrong thing to do when you're trying to manifest. Obviously, unless there's something creepy about them, then sure, don't go on the date. But, I've got a friend, and she had been single for many, 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 many years. And she actively avoided dates because she was like, oh no, their shoes aren't right. Oh no, I don't like this about them. They're a little bit too short. And I encouraged her to go on these dates anyway. And I said to her, it's like going to view a house, stop placing so much emphasis on it. When you go and look for a new house, you're not committed to buying the first one you go and view. You go and have a look, you see what it's like, and you might think, no, this is not my house. And then you leave. The same is true with dating. And when she approached it from that standpoint, she got her first date that she'd had in 11 years because she decided to drop that expectation. And it's a magical thing to do for yourself, because when you stop putting so much on this one and only date and just look at it as, I'm just going to view another house, it puts the fun back into it.
Yes. And you're not there, like you're not walking down the aisle because you went on one date. You're just there to learn something about somebody new. And that's how I teach my clients to take the pressure off of first dates, second, even third dates, because you're just getting to know somebody. Like you're just there to learn, just to connect with somebody, enjoy somebody's company. We don't need to be thinking about if they would be a good husband, like on the first date, that's our wife or whatever. Like that's not where we need to be. We just need to be focusing on this person, getting to know them, like learning about them, learning about their values. And cool, if it doesn't work, awesome. You learn more about what you don't want and what you do want in somebody. And it even adds to the clarity of what you want in another person and a long-term partner.
Yeah, I love that. I love that concept you shared. It's learning because it's absolutely learning. It's learning about that person. It's learning about yourself. It's learning about your standards. It's learning about how you show up in dates, and it's learning about what you're manifesting. What is it you're bringing into your life? Because it could be an amazing guy, but you just don't have that chemistry. Well, that's great because that shows you that you're on the right path with your manifesting. You're manifesting the right sort of person. Now you just need that spark. Whereas if you're manifesting somebody that's completely inappropriate and you're going on a date with them, that shows you that there's something not going as it should be with your manifesting. You need to go back and revisit everything. So yeah, bad dates are one thing, but good dates with the wrong person are a great indicator that you're on the right path.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it is. It means you're getting closer and closer to that person.
Yeah. And Chrissy and I want to come to any weddings that result as following these podcasts, taking our advice. We want the invites.
Absolutely. We expect the DMs. Yes. Formal invites. You will send you our address. We will be there.
Yes.
Yeah. I love this idea of letting go of just expectation. How do you feel like someone can do that? Like if they're in a space of feeling this expectation in their life around really anything, because this applies to all areas, how can someone start to drop that and just lean more into themselves and what they want and just take that step back?
Yeah. It comes back to what we were talking about before about not being able to see something. And here's the thing. Dating should be no different to anything else in your life. If you order something from Amazon, you place your order, and then you go about your day. You go about your business. That thing might come in 24 hours. It might come in 3 days. It might take longer if it's coming from somewhere else. But you aren't sitting every moment of every day watching the tracking. Oh my God, is it left the warehouse? Yeah. Is it on the way? Because you just trust it's coming.
Yeah.
And that's how we should be approaching our dating lives. Just because you can't see that person 20 dates from now, 300 dates from now, it doesn't mean that it's not coming. And every time you doubt your ability to manifest the person you want to be with, you put another delay onto it. So at some point, you have to just surrender and think, okay, I'm just going to go into every date thinking I'm one step closer. It might be with this person, it might not be, but that's great. I'm learning something. I'm learning something about myself and learning something about what I do or I don't want. And I'm filtering down. It really, I think, culminates from everything that we've spoken about over these last 2 episodes. Go back, listen to this again, listen to it again, listen to it before you go on a date. Save these episodes, and before you go on any dates, listen to these conversations, because I think you'll find that when you listen, you'll hear things you didn't hear the first time, and you'll show up differently in your dates.
Yes, I agree. Listen to them before a date, because it will get you in such a different space. And reminding yourself too, when you notice that you are having an expectation, to actively remind yourself, okay, I'm dropping that.
Yeah.
And saying the thing that you really want to actually feel, which is maybe if we're talking about like where you're going to meet somebody and being very specific about that maybe you actively tell yourself, like, I'm open to meeting someone anywhere. I'm open to new experiences and meeting somebody. Like whatever it is, like remind yourself of that often, so that
absolutely
you're not holding on to this, especially before a date. And remind yourself too, like, hey, I'm just going here to learn something new about somebody, and not having the expectation that this could be your future partner, which of course, if that's what you want, like that's awesome. That can still exist. That can exist with also having no expectation. And that's the thing I think I can personally say that's what I've been hung up on in the past. And when I learned that 2 things can coexist at the same time, totally changed the game.
Yes.
These beliefs exist at the same time.
Yes.
The belief that you're open to meeting somebody, that I can meet somebody anywhere. And also I'm ready for an epic, amazing, juicy, healthy love in my life. And you could have them both.
Yes, most definitely. And you can really meet anyone anywhere. Let me tell you, Brad Pitt himself was 10 miles away from my house at the weekend.
Whoa.
If I'd have known that, I would have run the 10 miles to go and hunt him down, but I did not know that. But you can meet someone anywhere. I could have met Brad Pitt near my house. Who would have thought?
I love it. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. Like I said, go back and listen to part 1. It's so good. It's all about manifesting love and the exact steps we dive into on how to do that. And you can find me on my podcast, Becoming the One. You can also find me on Instagram and newly Threads at Becoming Chrissy T. Katie, where can everyone find you at?
Yep. So you can find me on all the social media platforms, and my handle is at The Manifesting Mindset. And you can also follow me on my podcast, which is released weekly, and it's called That Manifesting Podcast.
Love it. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you soon. Bye.
So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed listening, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe and leave a review, because it really does help me to reach more people. I've left some links in the show notes so you can connect with me, or you can grab one of my manifesting resources. Until next week, sending you lots of love, light, and manifesting vibes.